If you're someone who's fascinated with AI and have an itch to integrate it in your business, but you just don't know how, this is a great episode for you. Today, I sat down with David Hill. He's a serial entrepreneur focused on sales training, the sales process. He's also a real estate agent. He's a marketer. He's someone who knows a lot about how to capture leads, create the right messaging, and take advantage of the most impactful tools today. In today's episode, Dave and I talk about how to integrate AI into your business, what types of AI he's using for marketing and sales. We talk about data security, making sure that the information you have on your computer, if you're integrating outside LLM models like ChatGPT and Claude, is protected and safe, how to get the most out of your AI software, and how he and his team use the DISC assessment to better understand their customers to use in marketing and throughout the sales process to make you more effective. So there's a lot of information in today's show, and I think you're going to enjoy the conversation with Dave. So stay tuned. So please join me in welcoming Mr. David Hill to the show.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Thanks for coming on. I'm pumped to talk through everything you have going on with real estate, sales, and I know you had some exciting events you just went to focused on AI. So pumped to get into it. And with the sales training side of things, I mean, talk to me a little bit about, you have the sales training, you have real estate, you do some marketing. If someone asked me in a coffee shop, who's David Hill, what would I tell him?
Yeah, I would say marketing. I would say he's a marketer. Honestly, after spending 2 days with John Lee, he said all of us going forward need to think of ourselves as media companies. Like we're a brand. Everybody now should be thinking like, I'm a brand, I'm a media company, and how do I get myself out there so people know who I am? And so I've always said, think of me, even though I sell real estate, I coach, I train business owners, small business owners. I do workshops, but at the end of the day, I'm in marketing.
I love that. What a good spot to be right now.
Yeah.
It's the fight for attention.
Amen. Yeah.
We were talking before the show about, these avatars running Instagram pages that don't even exist.
It's ridiculous. Yeah.
And it's true. I think the personal brand right now is your biggest asset.
100%. Yeah. Especially with all the AI and the fakes. And if people know you're real, and honestly, some people don't even,
some people don't know. Yeah.
I don't even know if they care, to be honest with you, but knowing that there's a real person behind it that's doing it. And I think is the next level.
Yeah. I don't think we can ever lose that touch. People ask me all the time for mortgages. Like, are you worried about AI taking over? And I said, well, I have long-term concerns, but at the end of the day, you can't replace the human touch. But it's not just the human part, it's the connection. So if AI could figure out how to create that same connection, that's obviously a concern.
I was having a conversation with somebody this morning on a podcast, and we were talking about this exact thing. And for some people, AI is that connection. Think about seniors. Think about people that have nobody else in their life.
That's a good point.
Some people are using AI for counseling and coaching. So, I mean, And if you were at this event we were just at, he built an avatar, and you couldn't tell the difference between the avatar and he took a picture of an attendee, and then during the break, his team turned it into an avatar using a bunch of different tools. They don't just use one tool; they use a lot of tools and then put it all together. And you would not be able to tell the difference. Wow. And even the mannerisms and. He had her working out and at the gym and sweating, like it was wild.
So with your sales and marketing brain, what do you think the best use case is there for? Like, if I'm an entrepreneur listening to this podcast, I'm in sales.
Sure.
What do you see the opportunity in that?
I see that you need to learn you need to figure out first off, where in your business do you need these tools? One of the acronyms I learned from John was WAVIT. It's an acronym, WAVIT. And so when you think, like, one of the biggest questions I had going into this is like, well, there's so many things. What do I get? Right? Like
that's the hard part.
Like the tech stack. I mean, I signed up for things, and then 2 months later, I'm like, holy cow, I haven't used that in a month. WATI. So you can see how new this is to me. I can't even remember it. But it's all it's all the different forms of how to use AI, right? So the audio form, the video form, the voice is the V, and then the text, right? So text. But think about the A for audio. There's so many different tools you can use. So the tool they use is called 11 Labs, and you can take somebody's voice, you can record the voice, and you can create a perfect replica of the voice. Like you almost,
I've seen the remixes.
You would need like government type machines to be able to tell that it wasn't the actual person.
And you see use case for that in marketing to be able to streamline maybe your content production, or
you can scale is what you can do, right? You can scale yourself. So they built an avatar. We were talking about this earlier. The name's David Chan. It's not even a real person, and he's got a YouTube channel and an Instagram channel with 60,000 followers in 2 months. Wow. They built it using these tools and putting all these tools together.
That's intimidating.
So yeah, well, yeah, and it can be intimidating, I guess, right? And so you think about voice, right? And you think about the text, and so there's a lot of different apps for text. Claude, ChatGPT.
I think what you mentioned earlier is super relevant about people getting confused or overwhelmed with the tech stack, and that's something I struggle with personally. Is even in my own business of how do you navigate the million options. And so, I mean, I definitely have some use cases for AI that I implement, but I know there's so much more out there, but it's hard to navigate. I remember I sat down with Bryce Meisen. You know Bryce,
I know
obviously.
Bryce well, yeah.
And his brain, in talking with him, really kind of helped me understand, similar to your logic of break it down by category. Yeah. He almost broke it down by business compartment of, finance, marketing, HR, and then just tailoring the application towards that one space in your business. But even then, there's so many options.
So back to your question to simplify it, and hopefully I remember what the W stands for at some point. And this is the conversation I had this morning with Tim on the Chamber show. Think about the problem you solve as a business, whatever problem it is that you solve, right? And for you, it might be, people aren't sure. They want to make sure they're not paying too much in the mortgage. They want to make sure they're not being taken advantage of, right? They want to make sure they get the best, whatever it is that's on their mind.
Sure.
You are a content creator of that. And so that's what he was talking about, is getting that information out there in everywhere, like blogs, YouTube videos, Instagram videos, TikTok videos, right? Website, SEO, AEO, everything. Like, you need to be the guy. So when somebody looks up like, hey, reputable mortgage, you come up because of the amount of content. So first off, what problem do I solve? So you solve the mortgage problem.
Sure.
Great. Who's my customer? Now, I know we all tend to think as business owners, well, everybody's my customer. Well, everybody's not my customer.
Sure.
Right? Like, I charge a lot of money for what I do. Sure. Most people aren't willing to pay that kind of money. So right away, I have a system where if somebody schedules a call with me, there's certain questions that I ask, and based on how they fill out the questions, well, I'll pretty much know. Sometimes I'll go into a call with them. Other times I'll just cancel the call, just because I know it's not going to be a good use of their time or my time.
Sure.
Right. And so the next thing is, who's my customer? And then the next one is, where is my customer? How do I get in front of them? Right? Are they on Instagram? Are they Facebook? Are they, because they're all different. LinkedIn.
Sure.
Are they at networking events? Or is this somebody I need to go door knock? There's different ways. So then how do I get in front of them? And then what is my messaging? Like, what's the message? And this is what we spent a whole day on, was figuring out our messaging the right way.
And where do you think most people go wrong when they go through that process?
I think the vagueness. It's like, everybody's my customer, right? Like, for me as an example, when I started my marketing company, I had a 15-minute call tool, and I'd give it to anybody. Hey, schedule 15 minutes with me. I spent my whole day on 15-minute strategy calls, and 90% of them went nowhere.
Didn't go anywhere.
And then all of a sudden I said, okay, I need to put a filter on this. There needs to be some criteria that determine if I get on the call or not. And once I did that, it was a shift, because now all of a sudden, instead of 10%, it jumped up to 50% would move forward, or 60% would move forward, right? So to me, that is a mistake, thinking that you can just help everybody.
And I think the other part of it too, like a lot of people, especially sales, their first goal when they start the business is quantity of leads. It's like, let me get as many leads as I can, which at first, sure, at bats count, but at some point it's the conversion of quantity to quality of leads. And one thing you said actually when you were presenting at the Connect Woo event, you were talking about your follow-up process. And I actually did a whole episode on the podcast about this. I don't have it as dialed in as you do, but I started thinking about the lead flow process. Do I not have enough leads? Am I not managing them properly? Or are they not the best leads? And that I went through this process in my business. Yeah. And I figured out that a lot of my challenge wasn't necessarily the quantity or the quality. It was how I managed the leads. How many follow-ups? What's my retention process? Am I tapping into my past closed clients to, spread my outreach? Do they know any friends or family? That phone call or email that, everyone always puts their signature line as a referral is the best compliment. That's not enough by itself, right? Sure. So I looked into that, and I think a lot of times people, I don't know that everyone really understands that. Talk to me about your philosophy there. So if you have your inquiry form, you're qualifying the lead before you talk to them. What do you recommend next? Like after that first phone call, how do you make sure to the best of your ability they become a client?
I think, especially in this economy, you have to build trust with people. And so for me, it doesn't always happen right away. It usually happens over time. So I might have a call with somebody and we have a good call, and then I'll follow up with them. I'll send them some information. I'll invite them to we do a weekly mastermind call. I'll say, hey, why don't you come test drive one of our calls? Meet somebody else. I've got people that have been with me 3 years. Why don't you have a conversation with Norman or Karen, right? Or so that's kind of like how I approach it, because sometimes people are skeptical. And some people, honestly, are in what I do, there's people that it's not even that they don't have confidence in me. Sometimes they don't have confidence in themselves. Because how many people do you know sign up for stuff and then they don't even do it?
A lot.
Like, think about gym memberships, right? Like
Planet Fitness exists, yeah.
We got to help people with that. And so for me, it's all follow-up. If you ask, like, even though I'm kind of pivoting everything I do into the focusing on marketing and media, but my superpower is follow-up. So I'm going to be dropping a whole video series starting on YouTube, following John's model on follow-up and how to stay in front of people. And over time, you build trust. But you're not going to build trust by just continuing to show up. Well, to be honest with you, you can do that on social over time. But if you want to expedite it, have them on an email list. Invite them to events. You got a high-ticket client, send them a book. Right. I'll tell you, that's been some of my best clients. I buy a $30 book, send it to them with a card. Hey, I thought about you. This book's amazing. We send out the book called Who Not How.
Love that book.
Yeah, you know that? Yeah, phenomenal.
Great book.
I've sent that book out to 100 people.
It's a great one.
And probably 40 of them have turned into clients just by spending $40 to send a book. And so there's a lot of different ways to do it. But first thing you have to do is you have to build trust. And sometimes, in most cases, that takes time.
It does take time.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes people, and I'm speaking for myself too, I'm definitely someone who is thoughtful when it comes to like new implementation. So sometimes to a fault where I overthink. I'll still take action, but I take a lot of time to plan out what I would think would be the perfect system. Yeah. But I've learned over time that you just have to start somewhere. I think with the follow-up process, it's the same thing. Where at first when I started, I didn't have any follow-up. Yeah. I would just help the client with their mortgage. They'd buy their house. I'd send them a, hey, congratulations email. Or even after the initial phone call, I'd send one message. And then I started thinking, well, what's my cadence? Every 2 days, every 5, I started researching, Googling. Then I'm like, forget it. Let me just do something. And then I started with a CRM, and it takes time to accumulate that. But similar to the AI piece, people get a little bit overwhelmed with what is the perfect process, but there really isn't one.
Well, I don't know if there's a perfect process, but there's processes that work.
Right.
And so I think what you said, the CRM is critical. We're about to release a video on YouTube, and we're gonna promote the video, meaning we're gonna put some money behind it and get it in front of the right people. And the three steps in it, the three things. That's it. Number one, have a robust CRM with a pipeline and use it. Number two, understand behavior, understand DISC, meaning, which we can talk about in a minute. But understanding people's behaviors, so then you know what to send, when to send, how to send. And then number three is going to be figure out whatever AI tools you're going to use. Because if you're not using AI now, you're going to fall way behind. Right now, we're still super early, but it's time to really start taking it serious.
Yeah, Bryce said it best when we were talking on the podcast, and he said AI is at the equivalent development stage as the internet was in 2003. So internet was 1990. So like good. Relative to where we've come, it's like we are not even close to the power. Yeah. But I want to talk about the DISC part of this and how that plays into your lead flow process. So for those who don't know, what is DISC? How do you use it to your advantage as a salesperson?
So DISC is a behavioral assessment, and it breaks people into 4 quadrants. And the interesting thing is I've been doing DISC for 20 years. I used to teach DISC for Keller. I was with Keller Williams for 17 years of my career, and I was one of their trainers. So whenever we brought a new agent in, I would bring them through a DISC assessment. And then the DISC assessment would tell us based on their behavioral / personality where they would do best. So the quadrants are to the D. This is a person that's direct and to the point. They're very short. They're very intentional. They don't like to waste time. So if you're dealing with somebody like that, you just go right at it.
Get to the point.
Tasks, yeah. Like they want to know like what's the outcome, what's the big picture. Now you have an I. Somebody more like, I don't know if you might know my wife V, but she's the I. She's the people person. Like loves talking to people. She's gonna want to go have lunch with you and meet with you, and you meet them at a Starbucks, and she's like friends with people online. Me, I'm more like, well, I talk to people online because I know I have to talk to people online, right? Like, right? It's more like an intentionality thing where that's how she's wired. Like she wants to be a friend, right? And then the S is the steady, stable, nurturer type person. For them, everything's about trust. They are very skeptical. They don't trust most people. And so you have to earn trust. And by the way, 70% of the population are S's. Really? And so when you're dealing with an S, if you try to like push for a close or close too early, they're going to shut down. And they don't like confrontation. So they're going to smile at you the whole time. And then as soon as you leave, they're never going to call you back. And they're going to say, what a jerk. Right. And I used to struggle with S's back in the day because I'm a high D. I show up like Tasmanian devil. Yeah. Like I'm the top guy. Let's get this done. And it doesn't work with S's.
Not with everyone.
And then, it works great with D's. Sure. Right? With D's, it works amazing. And some I's. And then the C is like what you just described yourself, the analytical. Yeah. Like I need details. I need data. I want to make sure I'm not making mistakes. Now, when you start to know that, first about yourself, so you know how I operate, then you start to see it in other people. And you can pick up on that. Yeah, I mean, so you call somebody and within 30 seconds, you can have a pretty good understanding of, am I talking to a D, I, S, or a C, just by the way they communicate with you. And then you adapt to them. We can never expect anybody to adapt to us. We adapt to them. So when you think about sales process, like it's all adaptation. So I meet with somebody and I know they're an S, then I need to slow down. I need to make sure I'm going at a slower pace. I'm giving them everything they need to feel comfortable with me, making a decision. I know I'm dealing with a D. Okay, great. I'm a D. You're a D. I know you don't want to waste any time. What's most important to you? Tell me. And I've had people say, listen, the only thing I want to know is how much you're going to charge me and how much can you sell my house for and how long is it going to take? And I said, he's like, I don't need you walking through my house, any of that crap. I said, well, let's look at the numbers. And I said, the house is going to sell for $640. We charge X percent. And if we do it right, it shouldn't be more than 45 days. Okay, where do I sign? Like that's to me, that's like the $650,000 17-minute listing appointment. Sure. From start to finish.
And you try to recreate it if you didn't know this process.
Well, but but the problem is there's going to be certain people that don't know that. They're going to show up and they're going to meet that guy and they're going to sit down and they're going to have their presentation and, like, and we do this and then we go through the, and the guy's just sitting there like, I don't care. And so this is, I'll tell you what, this is a huge tool. And so the reason that I ended up going back to it is because I partnered with John Maxwell. I'm sure you know who John Maxwell is. Yeah. And coincidentally, one of the things they use a lot is disc. So I did the disc and then I got away from it from, I don't know, probably from 2015 to 2025. I really wasn't doing a lot with the disc. And then as soon as I went and partnered with Maxwell, now all of a sudden disc keeps coming up. And so I said, you know what, I'm going to get disc certified with them. Yeah. And check this out. It's the exact same disc assessment, people keys, that I used back in Keller Williams.
No kidding.
I was like, wow, that's wild. And so, yeah, so
full circle.
Started using it again, and it's just been amazing. And I tell everybody, listen, you really want to understand yourself. You want to understand your behavior, not just you, but you understand yourself first, and then you start to see it in other people around you.
I love that. I think bringing it top of mind, I can see how that would be very helpful, because intuitively, as I'm thinking about my interactions with clients, I do it subconsciously.
Yeah.
And depending on the type of person they are, I change my interview or my presentation style. If, for example, if I work with a lot of engineers, typically very analytical.
Sure.
So that type of conversation, most of the time going into it, I know is going to be a lot different than if I have a client who's a nurse. Nurses might be more emotional.
Probably on the S.
Probably on the S side.
On the S side. Sometimes you get some D nurses.
There's always wild cards. Yeah. But I do it subconsciously, but it having that intentionality behind it, I think would be very helpful.
And it's not even just in the presentation, but it's also in what you give them, the way you follow up, the way you ask them to move forward. Everything matters. Everything. Yeah.
Whereas some clients, they just want the short and skinny. Give me the short and sweet.
Yeah, I don't want to hear it. I already did my homework. Like, what are you going to do, right? And so, yeah. And it, like as an example, as a C, it was I struggled with C's in the beginning because I'm very optimistic, and so I'd show up, and I was the number. It was always like when I was selling real estate in Worcester, it was like Lee Joseph, me, what's her name, Gloria McCool. Like there were like 4 of us that were always like in the top 5 in the MLS and like rotating. And so when I showed up, I showed up like, hey, I'm the guy.
Sure.
And not realizing that, like, they didn't care. Like, C's, they didn't care. Like, I don't care if you sold a house next door and then the house on the other side of me. I still want to see the numbers. Yeah. I want to see the data. I want to see the spreadsheet. And then I'm like, why is this not working? And then my coach brought that to my attention. He's like, dude, he goes, people don't care. You got to give people what they want. And I said, wow. And so once I learned that, I just had my assistant start providing tons more data to people and giving them what they want. And then I'd show up and I'd ask more questions and I'd slow things down. And because I was taught to be a closer, man.
Right, that's a different mindset.
As a closer, yeah. For a lot of years, I closed deals.
That's a different mindset.
Yeah.
It works.
It does work with certain people.
Yeah.
But I'm a lot, I feel like as I've gotten older, I don't know, I don't like the closing of people anymore. I like people to feel like, okay, this makes sense. I want to.
You're aligning with what they're looking for.
Yeah.
And I think interesting I didn't know 70% of people fell in one camp.
Yeah. The D's are, I think it was either 8 to 10% of the population are D's. And then the I's are, the D's are 3% of the population.
That makes sense.
And the I's was about 11, and then the S's, the C's are about the same.
Interesting.
Yeah, so the analytical people. But the S's are the majority, which is why, think about traffic as an example. Like me, a D, and I try not to do it much anymore if I'm in a rush, but sometimes people are on the highway and they're waiting in line to get off the exit. And then you see the car that comes flying around and just pops right in.
That's the D?
Yeah, that's your D. That's your classic D. Yeah. And so I did that. But the reason that works for most people, because they're S's, they don't want confrontation.
No.
They're just going to let them in. But then there's another D that's waiting. What happens?
Cuts them off.
Oh, they're not going to let them in, right? They pull forward, and now all of a sudden you got a fight going on.
Yeah.
And so, to me, that's a great metaphor for kind of understing people's behavior.
I'll have to take the test. I feel like I touch on a little bit of everything.
Yeah, it's awesome. I'll hook you up, man.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah,
I'll have the team
you're
take
gonna
it.
love it. Yeah.
I'm curious. I know it's probably, I mean, look at even the ads on television. It's probably.
And they say it's not a test, by the way, because it's not a pass or fail.
Assessment.
Yeah, it's an assessment. So it's just awareness and clarity. Yeah.
Love to know. Now I'm curious.
Yeah, everybody is.
I'm curious. And how do you use, when you train for the sales process, do you integrate a lot of that in your coaching?
I definitely integrate a DISC into my coaching, and I also integrate it into the sales process, because if I'm meeting with somebody and I'm trying to, either I know, kind of have a good idea, and you can use AI for this, by the way, to discern somebody. Like AI can read their social media and kind of determine in a lot of ways what they are. But I'll make adjustments to everything, the way I approach it, the way I show up, the way I ask, the speed, everything matters, when it comes to sales. And so I can meet with an S and, they're thinking, wow, this guy's a really nice guy. Yeah. And meanwhile, inside, I'm like fierce. I'm like, I want to get this done, but I got to slow down. I got to, right? Like, and there's nothing wrong with that.
No.
Because I help people. At the end of the day, I help people. I know I can help people. But sometimes I've got to help people get beyond themselves. And
that's a hard challenge.
Yeah, it is.
Sometimes people get in their own way.
They do.
A lot of the times.
Yeah.
When it comes to that process of, I'm a salesperson, I'm looking to go out, take advantage of some of the strategies you're mentioning, what's the first place I should start? Like, as we're talking about DISC, we're talking about AI, someone who's a salesperson, they're like, well, what's one thing that I can just make sure I pay attention to on my next call, my next appointment?
I think for anybody, I would start off with figuring out who your customer is. And first step, I talked about it earlier, but like, what problem do you solve? Like, at the end of the day, what problem am I solving? So what do I solve is I help salespeople close more sales. I help salespeople make more money, right? I help salespeople with confidence.
But from like if I'm listening to my customer, there's certain triggers that you listen for to know. If I'm talking to someone from the mortgage side, how do you kind of get a gauge of where they might fall just from the phone call? Certain tendencies or cadences?
As far as what?
To identify which quadrant they fall.
So you're talking about the DISC still.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. A D is going to be very direct. Like, yes, what can I do for you? Right? Where an I is going to be faster but friendly. Like, hey, how's it going? What can I help? How can I help you today? Typically. I mean, it's not 100%.
Right.
But then you can talk to them for a little bit longer, and after 30 seconds or a minute, you can kind of pick up on them based on the way they can continue the conversation. An analytical person is going to be more like, well, yeah, what do you need? What can I help you with today?
Can you send me something?
But it's not like a D. Like, a D is direct and fast. A C is it's kind of direct, but more of a slower direct. Right? Like a more of a, so if you think about the different quadrants, the D and the C focus on tasks. Okay. For D, everything's about a task, getting the task done. For C, it's about a task first. Like, everything has to make sense. So task before you go to the other side, the I and the S is all about relationship. For an I, if they don't like you, they're not going to do anything with you. Right, like, they have to like you.
Everyone
they have
knows
to
someone like
jive
that.
with you. Yeah, they have to they feel like, oh man, I feel good about this guy. I'm having fun. The S has to trust you. Now, S's are typically the slowest. They don't like confrontation. Like I said, they're going to be nice to you. Oh, you know what? I just really don't have time for this. Can you call me back later? And so you start to pick up on it on like a phone call or even an in-person meeting.
And now, so you're using, obviously, in the sales conversation, of course, you're utilizing that. How does that play into your marketing? So, how do you figure out what your ideal customer thinks like to tailor the messaging? So I know we were talking earlier about messaging and making sure that you're putting out the communication that attracts your ideal customer. How does that play into that process?
Yeah, so I have different AI tools that I use that once I understand somebody's behavior, then I can create custom presentations for that. Like, if I'm meeting with a seller and I know they're analytical, or I'm meeting with a potential customer and I know they're analytical, then I'm going to create a presentation based on an analytical person and the things that they would want to know.
And similar on the social media side.
Exactly. So, on the social media side, it's hard to know, like, because I've got customers that are, primarily my customers are D's and I's. I've got some C's and some S's, but so you want your social media to kind of resonate with everybody. So at the end of the day, the social media is more about what problem do you solve? Right? Like that's the hook. I'm sure you've heard the term hook, right?
Sure, of course.
So how do you catch somebody's attention? You catch their attention with a hook. Like, okay, I have that problem. Like, because now you have to stop the scroll, right? Like, so
I think sometimes it's hard. I find it's hard for me, even when I'm talking with Alex, who, for those who can't see, my marketing manager, we try to figure out what messaging makes most sense to put out consistently. And we still come back to, well, people need to know what we do.
Yeah.
But then there's so many different, applications. And people always talk about niching down and finding your one thing, but it's hard on social media because you don't know who's going to watch it. It's hard to build that audience of just one particular thing. If I said I'm just first-time home buyers, I also love working with investors, right? So how do you, kind of balance it? I go with the kind of shotgun approach.
You can use the analytics on the platforms if you want. I don't know if you put any money behind your marketing, but you can target.
Right.
There's tons of targeting, and you can get age group, demographic, income. There's a lot of different ways to get in front of people. But I think if you're consistent with the messaging and the problems that you solve, and you're just consistent with it, then the people they're gonna opt in. You're gonna say, man, I keep seeing this guy Ryan everywhere, and everywhere he's talking about mortgages, and he's talking about making sure that you're with the right person because the closing costs are going to be what they say. Or like, that's what I used to say to everybody when we were selling real estate. Like, you got to go with my guy. Why? Because if he says this is going to be the closing costs, that's going to be the closing cost. If he says this is going to be the rate, it's not going to change.
Right.
You don't have to worry about that. Like when you go online or something, and sometimes
never know.
Yeah. So we could honestly say that to people by just consistently putting content out there. Blog, social media, reviews are huge. Testimonials are huge. All of that kind of comes together now. And do you use what do you use? Claude, GPT? Which one do you use?
So interesting. I use a little bit of both. I think they're both better at different things.
All right, good. So what's happening now is people are not everybody yet, but it's coming. Like you said, we're at the beginning. People are going to their Claude or their GPT, and they're saying, "Hey, I'm looking for a mortgage in Westboro, and who's the best guy?" And now the AI goes out and searches. And what does AI search? Where do you think it's going to find that information?
Everywhere. On the internet, on social.
It's going to go to social media. It's going to go to Facebook. It's going to go to Google. It's going to go to Bing. It's going to go to
YouTube, everything, probably.
Everything. Yeah. And some people are like, well, why am I going to be on Bing and Yahoo? It doesn't matter because the AI is going to search Bing and Yahoo, which is why you need to be there. And so that's one of the most important things right now is making sure you have a consistent message across all brands and just consistency. And it likes, just like SEO, they like reviews, they like testimonials, it likes blogs, it likes good, robust information about a topic.
I've noticed that more and more with how the younger generation's using it too.
Sure.
I see my brother's only a year and a half younger than me, and he's very much more involved in the tech space and fintech, and that's his background. But it's Google. I mean, it's Google to them. Like that's their internet search engine is AI. And he always tells me, he's like, I don't even know why you have Google on your phone. I was like,
well, Gemini. I mean, Google owns Gemini,
right?
Which think about Gemini. Google owns Gemini and it owns YouTube, right? So YouTube is like the best platform because the thing that makes YouTube the best is it's evergreen. Meaning you have videos that are 15, 20 years old that are still getting views today. It doesn't go away.
For better or for worse.
Huh?
For better or for worse.
Well,
I had to purge my YouTube channel.
Bad, sometimes, I was mentored by Grant Cardone. He's like, no, any PR is good PR, right?
That's true.
I guess to an extent. When you're a billionaire, then you could do anything.
Then you can be more selective. Yeah.
Back to the answer. It's A stands for answer, meaning your AI wants to please you. That's one of the challenges with AI. But you can train it to not do that. Like, hey, challenge me sometimes. Give me some hard. Like I'll ask my AI, like, what am I missing?
I do that all the time.
What else should I be asking you? But your AI wants to please you, so it wants to get you the best information. So when you go and say, hey, I need the best plumber in Millbury. Your AI wants to go get you the best plumber. And it's going to search everything and find the best is going to be the most consistent across everything.
Which I think from the user side of things, it's important to know that, because I think a lot of people misuse, especially like the ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, Grok. They don't know they don't understand that that's the fundamental objective. So like when you put in a question of give me the best plumber, well, what does best mean?
Yeah, good point. Yeah.
And how do you get it to frame the context of what am I missing? I ask that question all the time. Like what am I missing here? Is there a better way to do this? Is my thought process broken? Give me a counterpoint. Like I want to know both sides of it to challenge me.
We just needed a plumber not too long ago. Which plumbers, man, I should have a side job for plumbing. But anyway, we needed a plumber, and so I called the guy, and he told me what he would charge me, and and everybody's doing this. I went right to my GPT and said, "Hey, I got a plumber coming. This is what he told me," and it was a referral actually. And basically, the range he gave me was, I think it was like $325 just to come out and look at something. And I'm like, well, what the LLM said was it should be about $275 to $325. So I said, all right, you know what? Let me give you a call back. I called someone else, and same thing, $275 to come out. I'm like, all right, well, cool, come out.
Right in the range.
I don't know you.
Yeah.
Right, like, and so, but that's what people are doing now.
Yeah.
You know,
what do you think is the best use case for the LLM? Like if someone is listening to this and like, oh, maybe I need to rethink how I'm using chat or
I want to, you know what? I'm just going to, we can stop recording
of course.
phone. Just if you want to just give me my phone, because I want to give you because that's going to answer your question.
Okay.
But this is from John Lee. This is why it's probably not out there. I just spent a lot of money to spend 2 days with him. So check this out. So, what is the framework for the WAVIT?
Good question. Let me clarify. The framework is WAVIT, not expensive. Mobile, written, text content, scripts, emails, blog posts, social media captions, anything text-based. A, audio, voice content, podcasts, voiceovers, AI voice agents, like 11 Labs, audio voice, spoken.
So sometimes Claude's glitchy. AI, ChatGPT's voice works way better than Claude. By the way.
That I enjoy chat more for conversation.
I've got some ridiculous agents we built on using OpenAI. All right, but this is Claude right now. But this is so when I went to his event yesterday, I recorded the whole thing in 10-minute voice clips.
Nice.
And I just load every voice clip, and then after it summarizes all the notes from. So, but the W stands for written. I don't know how you remember that. Written. That's it. Simple.
That makes
written.
sense.
Right. So everything: text, email, blog, social media. So written, you use GPT, you can use Claude, you can use Perplexity. It's really whatever you like, right? Like they're all good in their own way. You could use Grok if you want to focus on like social media. Grok is great for media. Audio. Now audio is the A. So this is podcasts, voiceovers, voices like 11 Labs, like we were talking about earlier. So if you want to create a really high quality voice, 11 Labs. The V is for video. So video content, YouTube, TikTok, video training. So the tool for video could be HeyGen. There's other ones. The I, this is the one I was missing, imagery. Images, photos, graphics, image manipulation, design, social media visuals. Some great tools for that. Gemini does a good job. I still think ChatGPT does a fantastic job with images.
Yeah, it does.
But if you want to go next level, then Google Omni. You can literally create movies now. $200 a month.
Crazy.
You can create a movie, bro. It's ridiculous.
Insane.
That's insane. What movie theaters would pay millions of dollars. You can do it in your house for a couple $100. And then the T is for tech. The tech is the connectors now. Connectors, are you familiar with like Make or like Zapier? Everybody knows that. Yes. So Zapier, Make. It's called MCPs now, model context protocols. So it's connecting tools together. So if you take the written, the audio, the video, and the imagery, And then because they're all different tools, you need a tool that brings it all together and makes it work together. So it's kind of like, think about the sales process. Like I teach a 6-step sales process. You know this.
Right.
So each step of the sales process, in a lot of ways, like requires a different skill level. And so, and if over time you can get really good at all of them if you understand what you're doing. But most people aren't good at all of them, right? Like, so you have your first step is your research. You shouldn't even be doing that yourself, to be honest with you. You should be using AI. Then your connection, then your qualification, then your presentation, then your closing, and then follow-up. Each step. You can have an AI that's a specialist in each step of your sales process. Just like what I'm explaining right now, having an AI that's an expert in written, an AI that's an expert in audio, video, and imagery, and then you use tools to put them all together.
That's interesting. You mentioned the specialty. I've been looking at a lot of those skills. What do you call them? The skills files that you can get for AI, and it's like that preloaded template of
It's
want
like prompts, right? It's just prompts.
It's prompts. Yeah. There's some of them that have almost like their own code in it. I'm still learning, but it's interesting because you can model that framework that you want it to think in. And I've started to do that a little bit in certain cases where I'll take, for example, if I was working on social media, I can take a download of Alex Hormozzi's book and say, I want to talk about, use his framework to counter my points, or pretend that I'm in a room full of executives at Google and I'm going to present this topic, counter back with what they would say. Like, it's a really interesting, use for it.
So John Lee, as an example, another tool that he gave us access to is his own AI. Like I have an AI, it's called AI Sales Coach, and it's an avatar. You can ask it questions. I can actually, if you want, I can play with it a little bit. And now he's got his version. So because he carries that little thing with him everywhere he goes, all his presentations, check that out. Everything feeds into there. Meaning any question you ask it comes from him.
That's cool.
It's wild. All his trainings are in there. All his books are in there. Everything's in there. So you can give that to your customers.
Yeah.
So at 12 o'clock midnight, they have a question for you. They don't need to say, oh my gosh, I got to wait till the morning. They just go to your avatar and say, hey, what would you do in this case? So I don't know. What questions do you have about sales?
About sales?
Yeah.
What's the best follow-up process?
So someone's asking, Ryan's asking, what's the best follow-up process?
The best follow-up process is one that's consistent, multi-channel, and intentional. David Hill emphasizes that 80% of business comes from follow-up, and it often takes 7 to 17 attempts. The formula: plan your next action immediately. Combine email, SMS, phone calls, direct mail, even video messages. Always engage with purpose.
So let me ask you this. Hold on a second. Let's do a quick role play. So you're gonna call me. I'm a owner that's trying to sell my house myself.
All right.
And you're David Hill.
Got it. I'll be David Hill. Let's set the scene. Ring, ring.
Hello. No, we're gonna go back. Sorry, bad prompt. We're gonna go back and forth. So you're gonna ask me a question. I'm gonna answer, and then we're gonna go back and forth. Role play.
No problem. Let's rewind. All right. I'll kick off again. Ring, ring. Hi, this is David. I'm calling because I saw you're selling your home on your own.
Hold on. Let's pause a minute. No, we're gonna do role play. So you ask a question, I give an answer, and we go back and forth.
Absolutely. I'll ask, you answer, and we'll keep the conversation rolling. Let's jump right in.
Okay, what's the question?
Here we go. So why did you decide to sell your home on your own instead of using an agent?
Yeah, I want to save the commission.
Totally understand. Now, have you had many buyers reach out yet, or is it still early in the process?
I don't have time for this right now. I'm really busy.
I hear you. Time is valuable. Tell you what, if I had a way to actually save you time with interested buyers, would you be open to a brief chat later when you're free?
I don't know, maybe. Can you send me some information?
Absolutely, I'll send some details your way. What's the best email?
Why should I work with Dave Hill anyway? I got so many realtors calling me.
That's a fair question. The key difference is I help you get top dollar while handling all the heavy lifting. But let me ask, what would a smooth sale mean for you?
All right, thank you. All right, So
Cool.
yeah, so it
So
knows
that has
all
your
my scripts and
framework.
my framework, and you see how when I asked that question, it went to a very direct, short answer. If I would have asked it more of a longer question and nicer, it would have matched.
That's cool. And what is that?
Yeah.
That's an app.
That's just simply OpenAI. Yeah, that's the company that owns ChatGPT.
That's cool.
Yeah,
And so you go. So you.
But so you see the difference though. Like you got like I was going really fast, but I got to tell it, hey, give me 5 objections. We're gonna go back and forth. You're gonna ask. You're gonna wait for me to answer. Like the clarity of the prompts is what's gonna get us the outputs that we need. So because my prompts were so general and vague, that's why it took a while to get started.
It's very true. That's cool. I could see a lot of use cases for that.
Yeah, yeah. And
Especially in the
was
training
Tip of
process.
the iceberg. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
The training process with, going through that role play, I could see huge.
Yeah, you just give it to your people now and say, hey, role play every day, 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Role play with your AI, and then the AI will send you a transcript of their role play and feedback. Like, hey, here's some areas that the rep struggled that you can help them with and coach them on.
Love that. I love you. I even for meetings get the meeting transcript and you can save it all. So
That's right.
and set a reminder. Hey, whatever task I said in the meeting, if anything come up this week, and I'm like, oh yeah, you said you were gonna do this on Friday. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I said that. I said that when? Like in the meeting. I'm like, all right.
Yeah, or get your little plaid recorder, and it just records everything all day. And then at the end of the day, like, okay, give me a summary. What are my top 3 priorities for today, and what do I need to focus on tomorrow?
Love that. I know people you can use it to overlay on your email inbox as well.
Yeah, yeah. I use Gemini right now for that.
Nice.
Because we use Gmail.
Yeah.
Which Gemini works good with Gmail.
I've been looking to try that out. I tried a company called Fixer.
Yeah, I'm familiar.
Yeah.
Yeah, good company.
So
I
very
heard they're good.
similar. Comes back with prompts for you, but the auto email sorting.
So the
very
next
helpful.
level now is probably Manus. Are you familiar with Manus?
No.
Yeah, Manus is owned by Meta. Meta just bought it, and so Manus can connect everything for you. It connects Claude. Well, you don't need Claude anymore, so I shouldn't say it connects Claude. Claude can do it, but not at the same level as Manus. Manus will connect your email, your calendar, your Instagram, your Facebook. There's hundreds and thousands of different connections you can make, and it can do tasks for you. So you can go take a shower and say, hey, well, I want you to research this, come up with the top 5 challenges in the mortgage industry right now, the sources, craft an email, find 100 executives in the area that these problems would resonate with, craft the email. Before you send it, let me see it, and then we're going to send it out. And it literally will just do all that for you. You'll come back, you'll have an email crafted with a list of people that it's going to go to. It's wild what you can do right now.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I played around with Claude Cowork for a while, and I was
that's good too.
because I had a kind of a reset where I was onboarding some new people for the team, and I said I need to get a central organization in Google Drive, and so I connected it to Cowork, and I said let's come up with the most effective but simplistic workspace to organize all of the following, and I watched it just move all my documents around, relabel folders, but love it. Kind of scary.
So what you need to do is you need to get a hard drive that goes on the side. I don't know if you have. It's called a Sandbox.
No, but I should.
And yeah, you should all have a Sandbox. Why? Because think about what's happening. It's getting access to your computer, and it's able to log into sites for you and do things. So if somebody gets into your system now, it can log right into your bank account and transfer money into somebody else's bank account. So what you do is you set up a separate hard drive that runs on. And so it doesn't have access to all of your stuff. Same thing like with crypto. If you have, I don't know if you have crypto or not. But
not anymore, but I did. Yeah.
If you have crypto, you keep your crypto separate from everything else otherwise, because the hacks will hack in and steal your crypto. So yeah, it's something that's really important.
Super interesting.
Yeah.
I love this topic. I think this.
Yeah. Sorry, going all nerd on you today.
No, I love it. I've been doing a lot more research into trying to figure out from a simplistic standpoint, like what's one more AI tool I can add in the next month, and try to find what that best application is for it.
You, as I would guess, you're somewhat analytic. I would say you probably lead with a C. It would be my guess. I don't know you that well, but that would be my, at least
probably.
A C is either your first or second. There's always 2. When you look at the disc, there's always the high and then the low. So like I'm first. I'm typically a C. And then I'm a D. And then I've got a lot of I, but I turn it on and off. But naturally, I'm a D and then a C, or a C and a D. We always tend to have those two.
Bounce back and forth.
We have what's called the adaptive, meaning I show up somewhere, I know I have to show up somewhere, I adapt, I put on my best behavior. I'm the adaptable. It reads the adaptable. And then there's the natural, meaning this is the real person. You're at home,
right?
You're watching whatever you're doing. That's the real person.
Guards
you
down.
get. Yeah. And then there's the third level is where we see ourselves. Like, this is how I see myself. And when somebody does an assessment and all three of them are the same, the accuracy of the assessment is amazing.
Wow.
But I forget why I even went back to the disc. What were we talking about that I brought that up again?
We were talking about, I was saying
I
wanted
need
to.
the second brain go.
I was. You could ask Plaid.
Yeah, right.
I was asking explaining how I was looking into a new software, and
yes,
I wanted to implement something.
So Manus, I would
check
be
it
a
out.
recommendation to play with. If you like Claude Code, Manus will just do a lot more for you.
It's powerful.
It has more tools.
I'm excited to check it out. Yeah. And I use Claude a lot I think Claude's very good at building spreadsheets, databases, manuals, where Chats, I think, is more OpenAI is more conversational.
Yeah.
And there's some interesting use cases there. I was listening to Dan Martell talk about, he's awesome.
Yeah.
And he has some really interesting ways he utilizes it. So I'm just trying out some new things.
He's a perfect example of somebody that was a CEO and he decided, okay, I'm going to become a media company. Remember what I said earlier? He's a perfect example of that.
I never realized he was that big into that space right now.
Yeah, he's huge. He's blown up. So John Lee and him are very similar. I was trying to make a decision who I was going to go with, and I ended up going with John Lee just because I know John Lee.
Sure.
Yeah.
I don't think you can go wrong either way.
No, I don't think so.
Well, we're just about, I can't believe it, but just about an hour together. So time flies.
Thank you, man. Yeah, it was fun.
Thank you for coming on. As we leave here, I always like to ask our guests one question. I change it up a little bit, but for you, I wanted to ask, what would be your top recommendation for someone who's looking to learn more about sales process, AI, something we talked about today that could help change their business or help them be a more effective salesperson?
I think it's all about your environment, and I would say find a coach. I think one of the biggest challenges, people don't want to invest in themselves. They want to go to free YouTube university or something and go invest some money in yourself. I don't care. It doesn't have to be with me. Do it with somebody, because the best investment you can make is in yourself. And when you go spend some money on yourself, you feel good about it. Go spend a couple $1,000s on yourself, or $10,000, or you're like, holy cow! I remember the first time I became part of Grant's organization. I had to give him $25,000. I'd never done $25,000 on anything except for maybe like a piece of real estate or something.
That's the thing, though.
But now all of a sudden I'm like, okay, I'm the type of person that will spend $25,000 on myself to get better. It opens up. Yeah, it changes your mindset. So I think it doesn't have to be that. I mean, start off with what you can do, but get around the right people, invest in yourself. Don't try to do it alone.
I love that. That was the topic on the last episode I was doing. It's something I've been looking into for myself. Is sure you could figure it out if you stick in the game long enough. But why rub two sticks together when you got gasoline?
Yeah, you just go say, hey, this person's doing what I want to do. How do I get around them?
And the fresh perspective's everything.
Yeah,
someone looking outside in, you learn a lot. But what you think you know about your business and how you do things.
Oh, yeah. I mean, 100%.
Love it. Thanks again, Dave. For anyone who wants to learn more about you, I'll drop all your information in the show.
Yeah.
Check out his podcast.
Thank you. Yeah.
And if you're looking for some training,
the Persistent Entrepreneur Podcast. So we're gonna have you on again live. I like the live vibe.
I'd love to.
I haven't done a lot. I've done 2 lives.
It's fun.
456 episodes. I've done 2 lives, so I need to get more of these.
You should.
Thanks.
Good time. Thanks again. Awesome. That was great.